all I have is 7 small little notes on my phone, and I'm gonna talk about the 7 things you need to double check before you head out for a production day. Now, these come from experience because I've gone on a lot of production shoots, and over the years, I've found that these 7 things are the elusive things that I really need to check on before I go out for a shoot. So before we begin, this video is not sponsored in any way. However, it is supported by those of you who help me out by clicking some of the affiliate links down below. So I'm gonna talk about a few products that I think you should look into if you don't have your bases covered for these 7 categories of things. So this is just off the cuff here, but number 1 is you need to double check your tripod plates and your tripod screws. I'm in my production studio right now, and I also work with a group of production assistants at my place of work, and we're always swapping tripods and cameras and teleprompters, and in that shuffle of camera kind of musical chairs, tripod plates always get stuck to the bottom of cameras and they end up in different locations. And so something that I've learned that you really need to do is make sure you have extra tripod plates. So a lot of tripods use these Manfrotto tripod heads. So you can look at those down in the description below and check out to see if your tripod uses one of those. Just pick yourself up another set of tripod plates. Also, these tripod 1/4 inch screws or 3/8 screws, depending on what camera you have. I always try to pick up just a couple extra to keep in my kit in case one gets misplaced. Flying right into number 2 are extension cables, or what we call like power strips in the industry. We call them stingers. Now, anytime you're at a production shoot, power is essential. And if you want to move your set away from the wall at all into like the center of a room, you're probably gonna need to route some power into your production equipment, whether it's lighting or your camera, if you wanna plug your camera into power. Whatever the case, you need to have an extension cable and a reliable extension cable at that. So I'm gonna link a couple of my favorite extension cables and power strips that I use on a regular basis for my production work. I'm gonna link those in the description so you can check those out to see if it's something that you need to add to your kit. Before we head any further, make sure to subscribe and smash that like button down below if you feel like you're getting value out of this video. I think it's like 70 to 85%, depending on the video, of you guys are not subscribed to this channel. So if you like this content and you wanna see more, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss anything else. Coming in at number 3 is you need to make sure that you have your batteries charged. Now, I'm not talking about just like camera batteries here, because you obviously should have those charged, but really what I'm talking about is more things that you don't use on a regular basis, things like wireless, like audio transmitters, like my wireless Go 2 system. This is a great audio system that I use for a lot of production work, or even the original wireless Go. And Rode has a lot of offerings like this, but all of these use like USB-C power, and the power is built into the unit itself. Or things like power bricks or V-mount batteries, things that you don't use on necessarily every shoot, but they do require power. And I was actually at a shoot today. I'm recording this video. I thought of this video today because I had a shoot where I thought there was only going to be one person that we needed audio for. So I came with my Sennheiser kit, and lo and behold, there was a second person who needed to have their audio recorded. And I looked at my audio levels, or my power levels on my Rode Wireless Go 2, and they were at like 30 or 40%. Thankfully, it was enough power to get me through the shoot, but you gotta make sure all of your extra stuff is ready to go. All your extra batteries are charged, and make sure to do this the night before your production to put your mind at ease. Number 4 is what I like to call tape and tools. Tape and tools. You need gaff tape. Gaff tape is an essential for taping down those extension cables we were talking about, or like in the shoot that I had today, I had to rig up an extension cable. I ran it up the leg of my tripod, hooked that to another power cable just because my USB-C charging cable wasn't long enough. So I'm using gaff tape all the time to just make my production set safer and more up to like code or standard, production standard, or just for like fun gaff tricks and rigging things up to walls or tripods or light stands or whatever. So get yourself some tape. And then on the tool side, I love to have like these mini screwdrivers are super helpful. I use them all the time on little intricate production gear, and Allen wrenches. These are the 2 main tools that I make sure I bring to every shoot that I go on. So throw those in your bag. Make sure you have a reliable set of tape and tools in your kit. Number 5 is lighting modifiers. You need to have solid lighting modification, because if you just have a really beautiful, powerful light, like an Aperture 300D or something, or I'm using a Godox right now, a VL, let's see, the VLC 150, VL150. It's a good light. It's at like 20% power right now, and it's got a bright key on me. So I could crank this sucker up to 100%. But what makes lighting pleasing is having a large modifier. So in this instance, I'm using a softbox or a light dome. But lighting modifiers don't have to be that unique. It can actually be something larger. I'll link in the description below one of my favorite lighting modifiers, which is just a large like butterfly silk. You could get yourself one of those, or even something as simple as a diffusion sheet, like a white, even a shower curtain. Like a shower curtain can be used to diffuse like a window light. You could literally tape up a shower curtain across a large window and you have a super pleasing light source. But you need that modification. So make sure that you double check what light modifiers do you have moving into your production shoot. Number 6 on the list is what I'm calling post-production aids. And in my instance, these aids, these things that aid me while I'm on set, are 2 specific things. One would be this color checker. This color checker is really helpful for making sure, especially when you're shooting in log format, that you have accurate colors in your scene. And you can see if, depending on the room that you're in, like this room right here, if I were to use my color checker, there's like purple in the background and warm lights and a bright key light here. So there's different colors. So I'd be able to white balance off of that color checker. And I'd also be able to, in post-production, be able to look at all of those colors and make sure that I'm correcting them in log properly. So that's a big thing. And you can also check your luminance values really consistently. So that's a really great tool. The other tool is a production slate. I always like to use a production slate, especially when I'm working with a bunch of different cameras. So before I hit record, I make sure that all of the cameras in the frame have the slate in frame, right? So here's your slate. Actually, there we go. Slate is in frame. And I don't use this one. This one is just for decor. But the ones that I do use, I make sure are in the frame at the very first moment that I hit record. And once I hit record, you can tell like what date it is and who the director was and what project this is. And the reason that that is important is because when you are looking through the camera files, you're able to, without skimming through a minute through the footage, you're able to, in the very first frame, know exactly what you were filming, what take it was, what the date was, and it's just a really helpful on-set post-production aid. So make sure you have those in your production kit as you go out on set. And 7th and finally is remember to bring note-taking material. Now, as a good producer or director, it's really important to have the ability to take real-time notes on set for post-production processes and for your editors and your editing team to be able to figure out what happened on set, to have clarity in their post-production workflow. So what I also notice is maybe even if you don't use the note-taking as much, you could, of course, use a computer or an iPad or whatever to take notes on, which is great. I encourage you to look into that option as well. But physical paper and pens, I've noticed that my talent on set a lot of times like to look over their scripts or their notes or their outlines that they brought with them for the shoot, and they like to mark those things up in the moment. So they get down in their chair, they're ready to go, and they're looking over their script, making note changes. And as the director or the producer, you need to have those supplies for them because they're not going to remember to bring them on set. So make sure you have your note-taking materials, your clipboard, your paper, your pen. I'll link my favorite Sharpie pens in the description down below, and my favorite clipboard that I use on productions. So make sure you have those on set with you. Thank you guys so much for taking time to watch this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to check out one of my other videos, I'll link one here on the screen so you can check that out. Thanks so much, guys. Much love.